What's going on, everyone? Lalit here. Today, I'm super excited to be sharing my 7 streams of income by the age of 25. Growing up, I didn't really know what this meant, especially how to get there. And so, over the years, through reading countless books, Googling what feels like forever, and watching pretty much every single video on finance, personal finance, investing, and so much more right here on YouTube, I feel that all this knowledge has culminated, all these tips, strategies, tricks, etc., into what is today what I'm about to share with everyone. So thank you so much for watching, and with that, we'll get straight into it. First, we have management consulting. Growing up, we moved around a lot, and by the time I finished high school, I'd been to 12 different schools. I grew up in New York, California, went to high school in India, and ended up getting my degree in industrial engineering from Georgia Tech. Along the way, through meeting so many different people, I've needed to reestablish myself from a social perspective, for example, making new friends. And through that process, I became not only accustomed to it, but I needed to repeat this so many times that it became normal, and from normal to fun. Anyone who knows me knows how social and outgoing I am. On a similar note, from an academic perspective, I've always loved math. Within math, you have formulas, and juxtaposing that logic with learning a language was exactly how I learned Spanish. To me, Spanish wasn't just knowing how to read or write it in terms of comprehension, but actually being able to communicate in it and speak with other folks and know more about their culture and just have this bridge of communication in one more facet other than just English and other languages that I know. And so combining my love for business acumen, being social, being analytical, being able to connect the dots and see the bigger picture, these are all skills of a management consultant. And within management consulting, no 2 days are the same. Projects are quick and intense. They can be short, they can be long, they can be in different areas with different clients, and along the way, you're always working with different people, with different experiences, different skill sets, different areas of life, and just the field in general it's one of those where you're always doing maybe something different, where your duties and responsibilities aren't really the same day to day, and that's really exhilarating to me, and it's just something fun, and I'm really glad to say it's one of my sources of income. Before even getting into management consulting, I was always fascinated with income source number 2, the stock market. From a young age, I was always enthralled by the stock market, with ticker symbols and the recording prices going up and down so rapidly, and the recording graphs moving all over the place. And so in college, I got more serious about investing and stock market investing in general. But seeing these graphs and being able to see that, hey, I think this price could move in a certain direction, and it happens, I was like, wait a second, there's these patterns. And within these patterns, there's a financial perspective as well. And so that's when I started taking things more seriously. Today, within the stock market, I make money in 2 ways. One is capital gains from the buying and selling of stock, but also realizing profits through options trading and doing more kind of semi-passive type of option strategies such as covered calls, strangles, etc. You probably already guessed the second way, it's dividends. And within dividends, you have a certain strategy called DGI, dividend growth investing, which I'm a fan of, and it's a small portion of my overall portfolio. Upon graduating and using the income I earned as a consultant, but in addition to using the experience I had in the stock market, was what led me to income source number 3, cryptocurrency. The crypto boom of 2017 was a time where I was a firm believer of the adoption of cryptocurrency as a new form of currency. And so ethically, I felt almost against trading it. But upon more analysis and upon more time, I was like, wait, these graphs are pretty much the same as any other company that could be there in the stock market. And it's just analyzing the graph, doing the same few trades, and you can make insane gains. So I put some of my portfolio aside in terms of a long-term hold, and then was like, let's trade. From an income perspective within cryptocurrency, there's capital gains similar to the stock market, and similarly to dividends within the stock market, there's staking rewards. And so they're different asset classes, so I wanted to separate these two income sources. They're different markets in general, although the skills are quite similar, which is a good thing in general. But taking the gains from cryptocurrency, the stock market, was basically what led me to income source number 4, buying my first house. Income-wise from the house, there's home equity, home appreciation, as well as Airbnb/rent hacking. To me, there's stability with a house, aka like a base. But more than that, from an investment perspective, there's this track history of payments on a primary residence, which allows the purchase of future houses or homes, or getting into that real estate side in terms of investment for investment properties. Generally, you need 2 years of tax returns to be able to close on a home loan. But because my job/profession aligned with the same major I took in college, I was able to do this with less. Moreover, you can have that same type of setup that I had. You can have all the money in the bank, But to get a home loan, in the end, you need credit. And not just any type of credit with that type of thin file. You would need good, great, excellent credit. And so that leads me to income source number 5. I've always been quite conservative when it comes to spending. And so upon graduation and earning income from my job, I basically Googled one day, just for fun, how do you save money while spending money? And I thought it was a stupid question. What could the answers be? And then, lo and behold, items like cashback credit cards, get 2% somewhere, get 3 times a mile somewhere else, 5% rotating categories. And I was like, yeah, what is this world? I've had a credit card since the age of 18, and all I knew about a credit card was always keep it on you just for emergencies. But there was this whole other world that was unlocked almost like a game. And so, lo and behold, I went deep into it, cashback, points, miles, credit cards, the whole 9 yards. And so today I have more than 30 plus credit cards on the personal side. And if you include business cards, you're talking about 40 plus. The point being, from an income perspective, there's actually travel that I was doing organically and naturally. And I was going to spend cash upfront on travel. So where credit cards came in were sign-up bonuses, points, miles. All of that basically saved me from spending cash up front, which that same cash was deployed into other investments, but also what plays into income source number 6, Beatbox. Okay. I've been beatboxing since 2007 and throughout the years have competed in beatbox battle events, as well as performed in general as a solo beatboxer both domestically and internationally. And let me skip a few details here, but fast forward, now myself and the team run America's largest international beatbox battle event based right here out of Atlanta, Georgia, known as the Legends Beatbox Battle. And so, where does credit come into all of this? Credit before Legends Beatbox Battle has helped me travel all across the world for flights I was going to pay for in cash anyhow, but here with credit card cashback, points, miles, it subsidized it / 100% taken care of in terms of cost. And so that saves money in the short term and the same benefits that come from saving that cash. Now, from an event perspective, the Legends Beatbox Battle, the same credit card points, miles, cashback, take care of one of the biggest line items of these events, which is essentially taking care of international judges that are flown into the event and also taken care of from an accommodation standpoint and other angles accordingly. Further, within the beatbox community, it's a really tight-knit community and we all know each other. And so when the story was heard of, how is this guy traveling for free? I basically was sharing, this is how I'm doing it. And so that leads me to my next source of income, affiliate marketing. In life, I like to create something I've coined as MBS, mutually beneficial situations. And so with affiliate marketing, naturally, if you use my link, you'll get something and I get something. And if you don't, you may get nothing. So from a credit card's perspective, if we take an example of the American Express Gold Card, if you apply online, the public offer is 35,000 points. But if you use my referral link, you may get 50,000 points from the referral offer for my link, and I also get a kickback of, let's say, 10,000 points. And so it's a mutually beneficial situation. And so similarly with Robinhood, on the trading side, you have Robinhood, Webull, M1 Finance. Crypto, you have Gemini, and Cash App. You can buy Bitcoin on there, but it's not really a crypto app. But all of these platforms have affiliate links. And so the point here is, if you sign up for Robinhood without one, I don't think you get that free stock. But now with the referral link, you get a free stock and I get a free stock, and it's that mutually beneficial situation. And so affiliate marketing, through just meeting a few people through the Beatbox community and not pushing my link, but creating these type of situations, it's benefited me heavily and them as well, whoever has been referred. But seeing it from a bigger picture, I never really understood that affiliate marketing could be this whole way of making this passive income where, for example, right here on YouTube, if you see a lot of people's links in the description below, that's affiliate marketing and it's a form of passive income. So it's just something I found really cool, and that's one of my sources of income. So there you have it. Those are my 7 sources of income, but there's some honorable mentions that I do want to highlight, and it's kind of this miscellaneous category. There is one income source which is kind of on the rise, and it's kind of been this one-on-one coaching calls, which I can understand that personal touch base is pretty valuable, and it's coaching regarding personal finance / goals in general in life and self-development, etc. So that's that angle, and I'll put some others up on the screen. And I do want to explain one of them where Amex offers For example, Amex has an offer of spend 600 on Dell.com, $600 or more on Dell.com, and get 12,000 membership reward points. Now, those points could be worth for me $240, aka it's like 40% back at minimum on my Dell.com purchase. But if I don't really want something from Dell.com, but I want to get this arbitrage type of situation, how would I do it? So, for example, if I buy a standard monitor that I could put on a Facebook marketplace on some group, for example, or a specific marketplace section, and just sell it, right? Let's say for $550, I get a little less cash up front, but those points are more valuable, whether that's for the Legends Beatbox battle or for having points in general for personal travel, etc., etc. And then you have, for example, checking accounts. For example, if you got those mailers of, get $300 by opening XYZ checking account. And so for trying out these accounts, you can try out a few of them, and I'm pretty savvy when it comes to these financial tech, fintech type of products, whether it's checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, etc. So from that perspective, just trying these accounts out, and if they work, I've definitely kept a few along the road, but at the same time, I've definitely not kept some of them because they're just not good or they didn't fit my personal finance kind of style. And so nothing wrong with earning a couple $1,000s this way as well annually. So that's pretty good as maybe a side hustle equivalent, but this is not to be confused with churning. I don't, churning credit cards, churning checking accounts, not my forte. It's more like if it's good for you, it's good for you. If not, why ruin your checking or credit score in general? Because your credit score can save you hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in the long run. So that's my personal take on it, but to each their own. If you've come to this part of the video, thank you so much for sticking around. It means a lot to me. And I just want to end this with an honest debrief. So analyzing each source of income and then basically giving some high-level remarks. So first, management consulting. It takes years of schooling and more than that, maybe some networking, maybe some experiences, some specific experiences, whether that's an internship or a full-time job or a way to get into it. And there's some hoops that you may need to jump through unless you really know someone or have some great connections, and it's a field of its own. And so second, you have the stock market. I've lost a lot of money up front, just trading, losing, but kind of going through that process of understanding that, hey, there are events like industry-specific events, economic events, certain political events that all affect the market. It's not just a graph that's just super straightforward and straight to the point. Then you have items like cryptocurrency. I don't think I need to explain that. High risk, high reward. This is like tech stocks back in the day before we knew what tech actually was. Fourth, real estate / the house. That, yeah, it's more defined as a store of value within our American economy. But at the same time, to get there, I think that getting my card at the age of 18, my first credit card, that initiated credit history, then maintaining that credit history, the payment history, and not having a bad credit score naturally by the time I applied, and having a certain income by that time because it was kind of pre-planned almost for many years ahead. And just that thinking, that mindset of, hey, I think if I do XYZ, it all should work out. So I'm not saying anybody or nobody or anyone can't do it, however that works. Anyone can do it, but the point is, it's one of those where it doesn't just happen overnight, and that's okay. Then next, for credit cards, same thing with credit, and then choosing to get X amount of credit cards and then hit those annual fees, aka you have to have the income coming in to pay off those annual fees. But more than that, are you getting the value from the cards? Does it make sense? Are you not going into debt? Do you have discipline? These type of things. Then next, you have Beatbox. Started in 2007, so I didn't even know it'd be an income stream. I was just doing it for fun. So that's cool, turning one of your passions into something that can also make money. But that wasn't premeditated. That just kind of happened through me just doing that for so many years. What's next? You have affiliate marketing. That, it can be nothing, it can be something, but if you're actually trying to push these affiliate links for no reason but for self-benefit instead of the mutually beneficial situation, then I think from that angle as well, it's not the best. And so to actually make a lot of money through affiliate marketing in terms of a passive income source, then it goes back to really either having that presence from a blog, a digital presence like YouTube, or just any other way that is basically scalable in general. And all these miscellaneous ones, it's about taking that time to just try those things out for, yes, a short-term financial reward up front, but does it better your financial situation, your personal finance kind of setup in the long term? For me, I like having XYZ checking accounts more than one because I like to see my money in different areas for different investment strategies that I have and different kind of plans that I have in general. So that's just my take. And so overall, again, thank you so much. Just wanted to be super clear about this where it's not like, oh, I have all these incomes by this age and I'm so cool. No, it's It's more just like when I was trying to figure this out, you have the likes of Graham Stephan, Ask Sebi. Ask Sebi didn't do one, but Graham Stephan, Meet Kevin, and shout out to Ask Sebi for me learning so much information from him regarding credit cards. Shout out to the Credit Shifu. Shout out to my family and friends for supporting me this far. And the point is, after seeing those type of videos and learning from them and trying to execute and implement these same strategies over so many years, I'm able to do this now, and I want to see what happens later. And who knows, a year from now, I hope to make this one more time, and maybe YouTube income could be one of them. Who knows? So until then, thank you so much. Leave that like, subscribe. You know how it is. But with that, I'll see you soon enough. So yeah. Okay, yeah.